Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Sustainable Solutions, Best Practices for Eco-Friendly Glassware Cleaning. My name is Ramona. I'm Product Manager at Miele Professional since 2018, and I'm mainly responsible for our Explore line lab washers and in medical and dental also for our small sterilizers. So this webinar today is part of our Mastering Lab Glassware Cleaning series. It's the third part, and today is all about sustainability in and around lab glassware cleaning. But before we start, just a short note, this webinar is being recorded and will be available on our Miele Professional YouTube channel after the session. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to use the Teams chat. We will either answer the questions directly in the chat during the webinar or afterwards, or address some questions at the end. And if you experience any issues with the sound or visuals, try to log out and back in. That should help in most cases. So for our international audience, some live subtitles are available in Teams. And you can activate them with the three dots in the dashboard, then click language and speech, and then show live captions. And in the caption settings, you can turn on translate to, and then select your preferred language. Yeah, I'm joined today by my colleague Michael Sedlak. Michael will take over now and take us through the broader sustainability context and what it means in practice.
Hello, I'm Michael Sedlak, and I'm your second host today for this webinar. I'm the Director of Customer Segments and Solutions for Laboratory, Medical and Dental at Miele Professional. And together with three more colleagues, I'm responsible for the rollout of the Miele sustainability strategy within Professional. Sustainability is very important. Although these days it feels a little bit like sustainability is not longer as present in people's minds as 2 or 3 years ago. This is because of the geopolitical changes and also the economical crisis in certain countries. But nevertheless, sustainability really counts, and it's really important to us. And I will give you 3 reasons why that is. First of all, we all have a social responsibility to preserve our planet so that future generations can live well on Earth. We have only one Earth, and so we have only one home, and it's worth to protect it. Secondly, sustainability is also an important financial consideration, because if we wasting consumption like of water, of chemicals or energy, that means that we are burning money. And of course, that is not at all in our interest. And last but not least, engaging in sustainability makes us happy because you are doing the right things. And with that, it's also clear that we all benefit from these activities. So it's really worth spending some time on sustainability. What you here see is one definition of sustainability coming from the United Nations. It describes 70 criteria that shall be fulfilled to really let mankind have a really good life on Earth. Of course, for our webinar, that's a very broad definition. So let's take a closer focus on what really matters in the laboratory area. If you speak about sustainability targets, you very often hear the term SBTi. What does it mean? SBTi is the abbreviation for Science-Based Target Initiative. It's an organization that helps companies like ours really to engage in sustainability and really also to document what we have done so far, what we plan to achieve, and what are the next steps we are going to take. It's very important that we at Miele uses SBTi targets because it also brings more transparency to our customers so they better understand what we have been doing and what we plan to do in the future. To make it very concrete for you, on the left side, you see a graphic. It's about the emission of carbon dioxide and also the pollution into the air that causes heating up our planet. And you see, since the reporting year 2019, we have reduced this amount of emissions by roughly 25%. It's still a good approach, of course. And when we see 2050, that is our main objectives, then the reduction will even be 90% compared to the starting year in 2019. So very ambitious target, no doubt, but it was going after it. But maybe the right-hand chart is even more interesting for you because according to SBTi, they measure also emissions according to certain areas. And you see that Scope 1 and 2 is very much related to plants where products get manufactured. So heating up a building, for example, is measured, but also cooling down these times in summertime also uses a lot of energy. But still, Scope 1, 2, and also 3 count only for 2.4%. So this is really not very much. In Scope 3, transportation is also included with that. Also services count in this area, but it's not the majority. More interesting is Scope 3.1, where you also have the emissions caused by purchased goods and services. So 15% is quite relevant. But the majority, and that is the first key takeaway from this seminar for you, is that the majority of all emissions are caused in the usage phase when you, for example, use a lab washer or a lab sterilizer in your lab. And that is because the timeline and the lifespan of a product like that is really, really long compared to the emissions that are caused in a factory, for example, for assembling a lab washer. So that really means that more than 80% of the emissions are caused in this usage phase. So the learning or the consideration out of that is that purchasing a product with low consumption rates in terms of energy, but also water counts, because it has to be heated up with energy. The lower these values are, the better or the more sustainable the product is. But be careful, you can never compare values on energy consumption alone. You always have to put that into perspective, which kind of cleaning results and drying result you expect and need to really produce analytically cleaned lab glassware. So you can lower, of course, consumption rates, but it can, very often that also has a negative impact on the cleaning and drying result. Therefore, it's very essential that you always have both in mind, because these are ambivalent targets you have to match as best as possible. And the second thing that is very popular when we talk about sustainability, and that also matters for the laboratory area, is the question about greenwashing. When we're speaking about claims that Miele makes or competitors make on the features of laboratory glassware washers, for example, then there's always a risk that there's greenwashing involved. And greenwashing means that there are claims in the marketplace that really have the effect on customers to say, it looks very good, it seems to be a very sustainable product, then I will buy it. But the question is, are these claims always correct? Are they too vague, for example? So we have to think about that in a purchase process. And the European community is the only institution, worldwide speaking, that takes care about this issue that we have. And with 2 directives that will come in place in September this year, they try to give some rules and also to set a kind of framework, which kind of claims will be allowed in future and which will be forbidden. And the intention is, of course, to give really clear guidelines and help also for the end customers, that they can really can make a good decision for them which product is the right one or the best solution for their purpose. And on the other side, for Miele and other companies, there will be certain rules which claims are allowed. And when we do them, we have also to provide data that really confirms and approve that, for example, test results show that our consumption rates are really so low as we claim. In the first instance, this directive are related to domestic products, but sooner or later, we expect that they also will take commercial products into scope. Second thing, to make it very practical for you, I did a small internet research to say, okay, when we look at lab glassware washers that are available on Earth, so what are the current marketing claims you can find on the internet coming from different suppliers? And you could read that through on the slide. It's about the low consumption of water, energy, and sometimes also on consumables. But when you compare that line by line, you will see they sound very similar to each other. So what does it mean then for you as a potential customer? So my question would be, what do these claims mean to you? And based on those claims, would you be able to take a good decision which company you would like to buy a device from? Second thing, it's very difficult, and therefore I think you can maybe also align with me to say these statements are too vague to be taken into consideration only. You need more information, for example, exact figures, but also in relation to the expected result to really come to a fundamental decision which solution is the best one for you. When we think about this purchase process, we can think about 3 different scenarios, 3 different use cases you might are currently in or will get in future. And Ramona is now going to explain these 3 different scenarios and will also provide some hints and help how to come to the best situation and the best decision. Second thing.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So Michael mentioned the 3 common scenarios or questions. The first one would be manual or automated cleaning. Then what makes a sustainable lab washer? And when does replacement really make sense? So let's start with the first one.
Second thing.
Here on the table, you see 60 regular lab glasses. Yeah, we have beakers, we have flasks, and at some point, they all need to be cleaned in the lab. And the first thing that comes to mind is usually for laboratories, the cleaning result. They want to have clean glassware. It's not usually sustainability. But what we want to do today is we want to look behind these cleaning results. What are the resources needed to clean these lab glasses? And for that, we did a test in our laboratory in Bielefeld, and we compared manual versus automated cleaning. So for manual cleaning, the glassware was washed according to a defined protocol. For automated cleaning, we used the medium program of our Miele Explore line, the PLW8604. And in both cases, we measured water, process chemicals, and energy consumption. So let's take a look at manual cleaning. So as you can see here, the process involves several steps, from hand washing, rinsing, to drying. And in our tests, cleaning 60 lab glasses, so those we saw at the table, required 81 liters of water and 750 milliliters of cleaning agent. And the whole process took 58 minutes, excluding drying. So the key point here is that both resource consumption and cleaning results, they are highly dependent on the person doing the cleaning. So how much water you rinse, how often, not how much water you rinse, but how often you rinse, how much water you use. This is all dependent on the person who's doing the cleaning. So you never achieve consistent results and never achieve, consistent consumption rates in chemistry, water, etc. So now let's take a look at automated cleaning. So yeah, here the glassware is loaded, the program is started, and then the washer takes over. So for the 60 lab glasses, the medium program took just 24 minutes and required significantly less water, chemistry, and energy. But the main advantage here in automated cleaning is that the water consumption, chemical dosing, the temperature, time, this is all controlled by the machine, and it ensures that the results are really reproducible, they are reliable in every cycle. So let's bring the numbers together. In our test, automated cleaning used 63% less water than manual cleaning. And to make that difference more tangible to you, let's take a look at the actual volume. So here we have the water that is required to clean these 60 lab glasses manually. Yeah, these are 20 liter canisters and a little bit on top. And then here on the left side, we have the water that is needed to clean the glassware using our PLW 8604. So we have the same amount of glasses. We have, the same intention to get them cleaned, but we have a significantly different footprint in terms of resources. And the impact becomes even clearer when we look at the annual savings. So assuming one load cleaned every workday, in automated cleaning, you can save up to 8,700 liters of water per year. So now process chemicals. So in the manual process, we saw that we only use cleaning agent, and in automated cleaning, we also use neutralizer and regeneration salt. And at first glance, this might sound that we have more process chemicals in automated cleaning, but if we actually look or take the view from the single use to an annual view, the picture changes. So here, for cleaning 60 lab glasses each workday manually would take around 21 canisters of cleaning agent. And in automated cleaning, the consumption remains below 1 container per product type. So the benefits are reduced chemical consumption. We have also reduced storage space. We need less canisters, less waste, and we have reproducible water, energy consumption, process chemical consumption in automated cleaning. So the third resource we looked at was energy. And in our test, manual cleaning required approximately 2.1 kilowatt hours, while automated cleaning used 1.6 kilowatt hours. So that is around 24% less energy for the same cleaning task. And over a full year, you could save around 180 kilowatt hours per year. And taken together, automated cleaning can really achieve the same results with fewer, better results with fewer resources. So let's move on to the second scenario, selecting a lab washer, or in other words, what makes a lab washer sustainable. And the first thing, as we heard earlier, that comes to mind is water and energy consumption. But sustainability is much broader than that. And here on the slide, you can see some factors that influence the overall sustainability of a machine. Take flexibility, for example. It's not only about using accessory for a wide range of glassware, it's also about whether those accessories can still be used in the next generation of machine, or in service, if you take remote service. Do you need to send out a technician for every issue, or can some problems be solved remotely to reduce travel costs, downtime? So this really showed that sustainability is not defined by single values, single consumption values. It's really a combination of many factors, and yeah, and this over the lifetime of the machine. Yeah, this brings us to another point, and Michael mentioned it at the beginning a little bit. That sustainability claims should always be verified. Terms like efficient, eco-friendly, you find a lot in marketing claims. And here's one specific example. It's one of many in our labs, lab testings. So in this case, the machine or the claim was efficient and thorough cleaning, designed for water and energy efficiency. And in our lab tests, yeah, you could see that the machine used less water, but it also required much more energy, significantly more chemicals, and it delivered only an average cleaning performance. So the key message here is do not rely on the marketing claims alone and ask for transparent, comparable data. So what were the test conditions, for example? Which program was used? Was drying included? And what cleaning performance was achieved? Yeah. Now let's take a look at the third scenario, replacing an existing machine. And what you can see here is a picture that was recently taken at University of Edinburgh in the UK. And it shows a Miele G7735, a lab washer that was manufactured in 1986. And it's now in operation for almost 40 years. And so that's a very good story of durability. And durability, of course, contributes to sustainability. At the same time, yeah, there comes a point when fewer tech or these new technologies, they might reduce the environmental impact. And in this case, the machine will now be replaced by our expert line model. And here on the slide, you can see the benefits the University of Edinburgh will have with the new expert line. 64% less water, 29% less energy, and 35% less detergent use or consumption, which also adds up to about 60% less operating cost for the university. So the message is not replace as early as possible. The key is more to find the right balance between long service life and improved efficiency.
Yeah, as customers look for a lot of information, sometimes they get it from suppliers, but some customers also make use of sustainability labels because it helps them really to take the right decisions. So we would like to spend a few minutes talking about the most common sustainability labels that are available. I would like to point out 3 of the most known companies that do this kind of labeling. On the one hand side, there's EcoVadis, one of a global and a very big platform that access a lot of companies of different branches and also provides them with a certain labeling at the end when they fulfill the set criteria. More lab specific is then My Green Lab. It's an association that really has a focus on scientific labs, especially, and also set up a catalog of criteria that companies with their products have to fulfill. So they take a look at companies at the same time as on products that are used by labs. And the third association is EGNATON, a European association for sustainable labs. And the objective of EGNATON is also to provide help and support to the process for setting the right requirements into tenders. So they have also planners in mind, or people who would like to set up a complete new lab and look for some help how to define certain products and their features and also their performance to really say, oh, this fits very well, that at the end we can say we really have generated a sustainable lab. So all these agencies are very popular. You will always find them on the internet, on conferences, for example. And I would like to explain to you what we at Miele have done with them. Starting with EcoVadis, we were quite happy to really being awarded beginning of this year with the so-called gold medal. So with that, we belong to the top 5% in the segment that are able to reach really a percentage of points that was valid for the gold medal. And even in this segment with 84 points, you see that on the next slide, because behind this label, you will always have also a so-called scorecard where you see Miele achieved 84% of 100%. That means we belong to the top 2% of all companies that have been assessed by EcoVadis. And you see that they have questions in terms of environmental activities, labor and then human rights approach, ethics, and also sustainable procurement. These are the sections where they give you a lot of questions and then you have to provide data. So with the gold label, we are confident because also it underlines that since many years we have a stable sustainability strategy, and we did a lot of effort to really reach also this kind of labeling. Secondly, lab specific. We are also happy that a few weeks ago we were awarded in North America with the ACT 2.0 label for 52 models of our current lab washer series. So that also underlines that we met their criteria in a certain extent. And actually, we are considering also to extend this labeling for lab glassware washers in other regions where we also have a business. Agency. Looking at sustainability labels, a lot are available. So the question is, what kind of benefit can they provide to you? And here you find 4 statements. These labels can help you to get greater confidence in purchase decisions. It helps also sometimes to really compare different suppliers. It can, when you have made your decisions, it can really help you to reduce cost because you have maybe a lab washer with low consumption rates, as Ramona expressed. And of course, there's also a lower procurement risk because this label are not related only to products and their features or performance levels. They also take into consideration the strategy of this supplier, of this company, assembling company. That means they also look at environmental, social, and governance aspects, compliance, and also supply chain characteristics. This is all good, but our recommendation is, as sustainability labels are not a cure-all, they are not a perfect database. Please stay alert and vigilant and question all the information provided by these sustainability labels and also by manufacturers like Miele and other companies when you want to buy a new lab glassware washer, for example. So that at the end, you really are able to take the best decision for you and your lab. Agency. And with that, we come to the end of our presentation part. But with that, it's not already ended. We have some additional advice for you. First of all of you who have agreed to be contacted again after this webinar will achieve automatically a certificate of attendance. If you haven't agreed to that step, you can now put your email address into the chat, and then we'll provide you with this certificate. Secondly, we can also offer you free of charge a copy, a digital copy of the EK Lab brochure. It has a content about a state-of-the-art processing of lab glassware. So if you use the matrix code or the download link that we also will provide to you, then you can download this copy in German, English, French, or in Spanish language. The third point is we will do a recording, and this recording will be published on our YouTube channel by end of the month at the latest. And for all your questions, maybe in between, you can, of course, contact us or your local dealer. We are really open and happy to answer your questions. And related to the content of this webinar, we also like to show you this kind of checklist. If you consider to select the new lab glassware washer, you see all the criteria that might matter to you and will help you to take the right decision. Last but not least, if you like this very short information, this short webinars, here's the outlook for the next month. There will be 3 additional webinars. First on safety in labs, the second one on what is really clean and how is cleanliness defined. And the third one is about the specifics of lab glassware reprocessing in the pharmaceutical industry. So please feel free to sign up for one of the upcoming webinars. For today, we'd like to thank you for your attention and we hope that you will have a great day. Goodbye.